Hey all, here are OS Reviews. In this video, we're taking a quick look at the QCY AilyBuds Pro Plus. This again proves that you don't have to spend an arm or a leg to get a pretty solid pair of TWS wireless buds in 2024. These go for under $50 and have the high-res Codec of LDAC being supported, so you can transmit a little bit more detail if you are looking for more nuances in your music, and more importantly, it also has adaptive active noise cancellation, so it can increase the intensity of the ANC depending on how loud your surroundings are. Has 6 built-in microphones for clearer voice pickup, and also supports their companion app. It allows you to adjust properties like the touch control, customizing it to different commands, as well as changing the EQ on here as well. Comes in a few different color variants. I think the blue one might be a little bit more unique looking, although it also comes in a slightly more conservative black and white. And QCY claims they should be comfortable as well. In fact, they have a very similar design that's semi-open, similar to the Apple AirPods, which is actually quite interesting because in the historical products that we've covered, active noise cancellation typically requires a more tight seal in the form of a silicone tip, but that's not really the case here. These are going to be partially open, so you get a little bit more of the awareness of what's happening. So it's going to be more comfortable, albeit I think the intensity of the ANC may technically have a slight reduction, since everything is being powered by the active noise cancellation. There's no passive noise cancellation without really a tight seal. The buds should be very lightweight at only 4 grams a piece, so again, it's not going to weigh too much at all. And as far as other quick specs are concerned, the case combined will get you up to 28 hours of playback. That being said, when continuously being worn, they can last for 4 to 5 hours before you should pop them back into the case to give it a quick top-up, depending on if you have ANC turned on or off, and it does support multi-point connection as well. If you pair it to both your phone, tablet, or computer, it can intelligently switch back and forth based on which source you're playing music back from. And it supports, again, any Bluetooth-enabled device, whether iOS or Android. You can find the companion app in both of those mobile stores. There's even a low latency mode as well for things like gaming as well as video consumption. The packaging here is quite simple, and by the way, they are IPX5 rated for splash and water resistance, so if it gets slightly wet from sports and exercise or rain, it should still survive. We have just the buds themselves, and then there's also just a USB Type-C cable as well as a quick start guide. Again, there's no additional silicone tips included because it is kind of a one-size-fit-all. So it is a completely round pebble-like shape for the casing, constructed out of plastic, but actually is quite compact, easy to travel with. The battery case on this model does not support Qi wireless charging though, so it is one slight missing function on an otherwise pretty fully stacked pair of buds when it comes to feature set. Now these just pop open like so, and we're presented to the buds that are held into place magnetically. When you open the door, they will automatically start to pair with your device, so it's slightly faster and pretty responsive. The buds themselves, although again very similar to AirPods when it comes to that stem type design, have a slightly shinier chrome accent on the front that makes it just look a little bit more attractive, I suppose, although again shares a very similar kind of wearing experience since it is semi-open and will not really exert as much pressure, but again there's not as much passive noise isolation going on. Everything here is done digitally for the noise reduction. The regular AirPods, not the AirPod Pros, also have a similar overall shape and design going on, but again, these ones don't have active noise cancellation. The Pro models do, but they have a more conventional silicone tip that kind of sticks in to provide extra seal. We can also tell there is a status LED light that slowly blinks at the very top of the buds, showing a little bit more attention to detail, and also some extra room for the various microphones that are picking up the ambient sound, as well as kind of detecting the noise level when you're wearing them as well. Although these do not have a proximity light sensor, so the music won't automatically play and pause if you remove them from your ears. The QCY app we have seen on some of their past products. You just need to turn on Bluetooth and location services and it will find the device here nearby. The app also supports pop-up notifications similar to the AirPods that will give you a message there when you're first opening up the case. And inside the app here we can check on the battery percentage remaining for the left and the right sides. And then on the very top we can go into the sound tab to customize the EQ profiles. Right now it's under the adaptive mode, but we can also go into a default, which is going to be a little bit more well balanced. You can also change it to pop-centric, heavier bass boosted, rock music, classic, as well as go into a customized profile that brings up your EQ slider. Although there is no automatic hearing test mode that will give you your own personalized EQ. That being said, the first one, which is the adaptive sound, I think is a little bit interesting because it will supposedly intelligently switch between those corresponding EQs based on what type of music you're playing back. It does make a subtle difference, so if you are playing back, let's say, a EDM track, and it's detecting through the app that it has heavier drum beats and bass, it will kind of switch over to the bass boosted mode. Alternatively, if you're listening to a acoustic track, it tends to emphasize the vocals a little bit more. So it is adjusting for some of those properties, and you can override it with your manual preferences if desired. Now, under noise cancellation, we have the aforementioned adaptive ANC. Actually takes a couple of moments to initialize, and it will tell you to make sure you're wearing the buds, have a good fit before continuing, and this function does work quite well. So again, it's using those microphones. Depending on if you're in a louder zone outdoors versus more quiet indoor environment, it will shift the intensity of the ANC dynamically. That being said, it seems like we aren't able to manually override the levels of ANC from here. So if you want to change the strength to higher versus lower yourself, well, you're kind of out of luck. You are completely relying on the algorithms here to do the work for you, unlike the adaptive sound effects where you can still override some of those profiles if desired. And then we can go over to the settings tab here to customize the touch controls. So you can either disable certain controls like a double versus single tap, raise the volume higher or lower. So we have 3 commands, a single, double, and triple tap that you can set on these. The Find My Buds functionality will also bring up a Google Maps view. So it's going to be connected to your phone via Bluetooth and have an approximate location or last known location shown on the map here, as well as ring an alarm when you tap on this key, raising the volume on the buds themselves. So pretty simple, but can be helpful if it's falling underneath a sofa, for example. You can also turn on and off settings, including a auto power off after X minutes of inactivity, wind reduction, as well as the LDAC switch. Now, LDAC, again, is a hi-fi codec that will transmit more data and details wirelessly via Bluetooth. This is great if you're listening to a studio album and you're more of an audiophile, but do note that because more data is being transmitted, the latency will increase. So if you are watching back a video or gaming, you should technically switch off LDAC. Now, as far as the actual audio quality is concerned, these are still single driver buds at the end of the day, with slightly above average sized drivers inside, which are dynamic, and overall they are quite punchy and energetic. I would say the sound profile isn't too off from the aforementioned AirPods, although that isn't necessarily a bad thing, considering that these are just a fraction of the cost, and the regular AirPods, again, are missing some of the features here, including the adaptive EQ and the adaptive ANC. Overall, the wearing experience is indeed super comfortable even for a few hours of continuous listening. Didn't really notice any stress or strain, but it also wasn't too overpowering, so mids and trebles, vocals and instrumentals still sounded good enough. In order to get the best audio quality possible, it typically requires a combination of different components. Not only the Bluetooth chip, but also the driver, and that's where certain stack solutions like a double or triple driver can sometimes pack in even more detail and richness in the audio that perhaps these are not. They're going after more of a lightweight, comfortable experience. Also keep in mind that LDAC is an audio codec that unfortunately is not supported on iOS devices. So if you are an iPhone user, keep in mind that unfortunately the high-res audio is not something you'll be really able to take full advantage of using the codec on here. So it's really, I think, best suited if you have an Android device. It's not a problem that's exclusive to only the AilyBuds Pro Plus, but something I did want to briefly point out. Now, when it comes to the active noise cancellation, it also worked a little bit better than expected, but similar to my initial remarks, because it's going after comfort, really without applying any stress or even a tight seal at all, it is entirely relying on the digital noise cancellation as opposed to anything passive using the seal. Although they definitely make a difference, I would say they're not going to be the highest effectiveness compared to ones that have more traditional kind of in-ear design. However, for moderate conditions, such as if you're just on a bus, if you're sitting in the office, things like fan sounds do get repressed surprisingly well for something that is so kind of loosely fitting, and I think the digital ANC there is done well. So that is more or less it as far as our quick hands-on review of the QCY AilyBuds Pro Plus. And I would have to say, aside from the more affordable pricing, they are going after a slightly more kind of stylish design. It's super lightweight, comfortable to wear indeed, and also tucking quite a few advanced features underneath that we don't typically see in a more affordable pair of buds. So if you're just looking for something casual with good sound quality, This can be actually a pretty decent choice, I would argue, as an alternative to other players such as Anker Soundcore that offers maybe similar value for the money, but QCY here perhaps just has a slightly more compact as well as comfortable wearing experience. So you can check out more details if interested in the links down below. For now, that's been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews. That's been the QCY AilyBuds Pro Plus.